Looks like we are definitely live. Daniel, let's roll the intro. Sure, definitely live.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Daniel. We're patching things together. I know, I'm honest, but we're putting things together because we stuffed up the intro. So you'll see us joining the rest of the show, and hopefully you enjoy this much smoother intro.
You're making a big deal out of it. It was just the first few minutes, first couple minutes, so we're fine. So, hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for episode 158.
Now, Daniel, you're
Yes.
from Nashville, Tennessee, and Nashville's the home of what today?
Yes, Nashville is the home of poison ivy. Well, actually, a dastardly cousin of poison ivy called Virginia creeper.
Dastardly
Uh,
cousin.
Dastardly cousin. That villain got me. I was cleaning out some in the front yard, and that vine just, I'm covered. Well, spots on my arm and my leg are covered. So yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, sorry to hear that, man.
Yeah, well, it's all right.
But yeah, yard work, things are going to happen, aren't they? Definitely. Now, our first message is all about Microsoft Teams and about multiple number dialing. Multiple number dialing. Now, that's MC2220137. If you have shifted from Skype for Business to Microsoft Teams, you would have found that the contacts experience is still in progress, right? It works, it's great, but one significant limitation, in my opinion, is you have a contact in your list and it will only show one number. Now, this is for people within your organization. You might have multiple numbers listed, a mobile, a desk phone, an alternative contact, and you will now be able to ring and find those numbers if you've added that contact to your list. So this begins to roll out mid-August, and expect to have that completed by the end of August.
Couple weeks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's always good to be able to get in touch with people, right, Daryl?
Definitely.
Yeah. All right. What's our next one?
Microsoft Authenticator. Daniel, you do use this application, don't you?
I do. I do use this. I have a lot of tenants and a lot of logins, and I use this all the time.
Yeah, probably filled up with a number of different registrations across those tenants.
That's right.
A change recently, MC220224. Microsoft Authenticator App Lock will be enabled by default. This one took me by surprise because I've got an iPhone, one that scans your face to do the unlocking of the phone. And one day last week, all of a sudden I was authing in with multi-factor authentication and it scanned my face. I thought, what's going on here? It didn't just scan once, it scanned twice. It was like, I'm going to give you access to the app, I'm going to give you the auth code, and I'm going to scan you again just to make sure that you're you. What was your experience of that last week?
Yeah, so that's your experience is exactly right. Biometric, so your face or your thumb. And if you have the Authenticator app, you could turn on the locking, which requires one of those face scan or thumbprint. And so when you do this, it will prompt you to log in, to accept the authentication, I guess, to say, are you trying to log in? You say accept. And then it says, okay, prove who you are with the biometric, whether it's scanning face or your thumb. But then, because the app is protected by these biometric, then you have to do it again to unlock the app. So that second scan is not required to authenticate your action. The first scan is, but the second scan, whether your face or your thumbprint, man, it sounds like it's way into the future here. You're getting scanned. Anyway,
I know.
That second scan is just to get the app to log in. Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Yep.
to make matters a bit more complicated, when you are, what would you say, outside of business hours and your phone is in a do not disturb and silent mode, um, you might be authoring like I am this morning, and it's well before my.
Hmm.
I think I make announcements, or rather notifications, appear after 7 a.m. That sort of stuff doesn't pop up, so you're auth,
That's right.
you go back to your lock screen, you find that notification, you get scanned twice. Anyway, so it became an interesting thing last week that all of a sudden it was there, and I hadn't got around to reading this specific message. So probably like many of you, you didn't have many users that were prepared for this. But you would have found too that with it being activated, it is something that you can deactivate as a end user. You can go in and turn that thingo off.
You can, I would advise you not to, but you can turn off the locking of the app, which
Mm-hmm.
means that you can just open the app and then you see all the codes
Yeah.
and authenticate anything that happens to authenticate or to request an authentication. I'll say I was in a meeting on Friday and I got a ping on my phone saying, are you wanting to authenticate to this tenant?" And I'm not doing anything. I was talking at the time.
Mm.
And I just think about if my phone had been sitting and someone had picked up my phone, and if it was unlocked, they could just say, "Yeah, I'll authenticate that." Well, they just let someone else in to my tenant, so I would advise people not to turn that off, but you can turn it off.
Mm. I think it's that small window that I don't have a problem with. I see my phone locks pretty quickly, and I'm kind of in the habit of, if I'm walking away from my phone, and it's not usually very far, but I'll hit that power button so that it does lock. So I've turned it off because the lock is me going into my phone, and it's unlocked now to use Authenticator.
Hmm.
Anyway, so it has rolled out.
Yes, it has.
iOS, it's rolled out gradually mid-August, so it started last week, and should be complete by end of August, and for Android users late August and complete by mid-September. So Android
Hmm.
users, you get a slight longer warning there, from our experiences.
Hmm.
All right, that was a long one. Let's
Yeah.
get into that next message.
Yeah. So this is announcing self-service purchase capabilities for Project and Visio MC220282. Now, this may sound a little familiar. We've talked about this for self-service purchasing for the Power Platform, and this is similar to that. Your users are going to be able to purchase Visio and project plans. There's a project one, a plan one and plan two for each one of those for Visio and project. And they'll be able to, if you don't do anything, if you haven't set up anything to prevent it, they'll be able to purchase their own plans. This is respecting, if you went in and made changes to that self-service purchasing for the Power Platform to say, no, people can't purchase licenses, send them to this link, for instance. And we covered this recently, where you can set up a page on your SharePoint site or something that says, here's the procedures for buying a license. Then it will respect that. So this message is just letting you know that those project and Visio plans will be able to be purchased very soon. And it'll be September 15th, so we're less than a month away for that. And so just to kind of give you an idea, Visio Plan 1 is $5 a month with annual commitment. Plan 2 is $15 a month per user for annual commitment. And then Project Plan 1 is $10, Plan 2 is $30. And I want to say something special about the project license. Remember, one cool trick, I guess, quote unquote trick, is that you can utilize SharePoint lists for tracking your task in your project. So you can take a project plan, save that project or sync that project plan with a SharePoint list, and then users can interact with that SharePoint list. They can close their tasks, give updates, and then that though that information those users put in there actually syncs with that project plan. So only one person needs to have project to be able to
Oh, that's
manage
a
that.
nice workaround. I was going to say,
Yeah.
did that require for them to have a license? I guess
No,
not.
you just have to have a license in SharePoint, and then just the project manager needs the license for project. So, and that is really just project, the application,
Mm,
right? That's not even project online. That's the project application. You just need to have that installed. So that's one way to utilize SharePoint list and project. So I digress. Sorry about that, but just letting everyone know that you just have a little less than a month for this to start kicking in as well. If you've already put in a process for the Power Platform, then it'll apply here. So that is that update.
all right.
Did that sway you at all, Darrell?
Yes, I was. Well, let me check the audit logs. No, wait. That's
Sorry, everybody.
two
Darrell,
fathers, two fathers
yes,
who just can't help themselves with puns.
tell us about Sway.
Yes. Retirement of Sway audit support. Sneaky, sneaky. MC22023. This update seemed to bring a bit of a discussion on the internet. So what is happening? Microsoft Sway, a application that is an online way of presenting content, but in the early days they kind of framed it up as just present your content. You don't have to worry about how it looks. We'll take care of that for you. Tell us it's a text box. Tell us the intention for your content, and we'll make it look good. And it was quite a good program too, because I'm talking about it like it's in the past. This is not a message to say Sway is going away.
It isn't?
No, it's not. But it may be a result for some organizations. What's happening here is there'll be the auditing support will be turned off, meaning that if there are any changes, any things that are happening with the Sway document, you won't be able to go back and say, well, who did that? What happened? What's changed? And that may take you outside of some security and compliance requirements that you have. And what surprised the net was it was, ta-da, it's done, effective immediately, major announcement, it's gone. What do you reckon, Daniel?
Yeah, so Microsoft Sway, I call it the storytelling app, is I have a love-hate relationship with it.
What do you love about it, Daniel?
Pretty much nothing. So I like that it's online and that, it's not a file. You just point people to a location and they get the latest update, to the story. Yeah. However, I've never really used the application because it's stinking too hard for what I want to do. For some people, it works really well. I have seen some really good Sways that were really concise and to the point, trying to get a point across. But things like if you're trying to replicate it, telling a story like you might do with PowerPoint, I really don't like the application at all. So anyway, so seeing this though, when I saw this, I went, and maybe I saw some people, is this the end of Sway? And the answer was, well, no, it's still there. And I'm like, are you sure this is not the beginning of the end? I don't know. I don't have any inside information on this announcement. So I have no idea. But if you're not going to audit it anymore, then there's going to be organizations that have to turn it off, right?
Yeah.
So you're going to lose customer base, I guess. I don't know.
Speaking of one of those threads, and it's just one of many, but Martina brings up, hey, hang on, what's the story about this happening immediately? And I think that was one of the main reactions to this, that usually we get some kind of warning or announcement, and we know that there are some times where you have to adjust the services, but boom, it's gone. And one large audience that uses Sway is education. Not just for teachers side of things, but they're encouraging students to share their stories. So yeah, really interesting threads there. Feel free to look it up. But I interested to see what is going to happen in this space. I know a little backstory here. The team that developed Sway was also the same founder that created OneNote, and the development team based out of Japan also created docs.office.com or docs.com, which sadly disappeared. So yeah, that was based off Sway, and it was kind of a blog profile portfolio thing.
Yeah, I mean, and I think it has its usage. I'm not saying that at all. It's just I haven't found a good usage for it for me. You know, there are people using it, and again, we're not saying it's going away, but it seems like if you can't audit who's sharing external information, for instance, or information externally, I guess I should say, then I don't know what organization will like their users using this product.
Yeah. Oh, well, watch this space.
Yep. Let's talk about something more fun.
More fun. You mean like our title for the show today?
Introducing the Lists app in Teams. That's Microsoft Teams, MC220295. So we've talked about the introduction of Microsoft Lists. This is the introduction of Microsoft List into Teams. So the timing on this, early September starting to roll out, mid-October to be finalized. I think what's interesting about this is it's going to be on by default, which is awesome, meaning it will be pre-installed for all your users in the tabs feature. So if you go to add a tab, you're going to be able to add a Microsoft list. You're going to be able to create a new list from there, from scratch, just create one. You could also pin an existing, list. And remember, and I think this is kind of funny, this is a sentence in the update, list created using the List app and list created in SharePoint are identical. So remember, Microsoft Lists is really SharePoint List. That's really what it is, with a home for organizing all your lists together. Okay. So what this is doing is bringing that feature-rich experience of Microsoft List into your teams, and I think it's going to be great. It's going to be fantastic. We are really looking. I'm really looking forward to utilizing this. I know there are people that were looking to utilize Project Oakdale for some Microsoft integration. Project Oakdale used to be called Flex something or another. For the Power Platform, what was it called? I've already forgotten it.
Chat room waiting. Have you got a hint there for Daniel? They had
to rename it and it was funny because I was in a meeting. They're talking about, we're going to introduce this new cool thing, and we're going to call it this. And I'm like, that's interesting. I'm going to go search for it. And lo and behold, a bunch of things popped up saying here. Anyway, we're on a tangent. But anyway, this is going to bring the ability again to just do some quick list creation, but it's going to have that full features of Microsoft List, being able to sort and filter and doing your data flex is the name of it, by the way. That it was the Project Oakdale. Sorry, being able to format your list. That's what we're going to get with this Microsoft List app in Microsoft Teams. It's going to be fantastic. So again, starting in September, ending in October, it's going to be great. Looking forward to it. Yeah.
One thing that I see as an advantage here too, and I picked up on that from the announcement, is being able to discuss an item in a list. Right? So that one of the strengths with Teams is it's about having conversations around content. Very cool that going back to your project case, if this was a list that was synchronized with project and you wanted to have a discussion about a certain item, then this is exactly where you do it.
It's going to be interesting how they do that. To be honest, I haven't seen it in preview of how they're doing that conversation, but it's going to be interesting. I can't wait for it.
We can but anticipate and come up with ideas.
Yes, sir. So how about some admin settings in PSTN, Darrell? Lay it
Wapow.
on us. Lay it
Yeah,
on us.
yeah. Okay, well, getting back to Microsoft Teams, um, have you been in a meeting where people have had to
Yes.
dial in before? Look, you
Sorry.
got to let me finish.
Sorry.
It feels like we're in a meeting right now and you're just talking over the top of me.
Am I on mute? Sorry.
Yeah, all right. MC220415. When you're in a meeting and someone's dialing in, we've been able to see people's phone numbers, and that might not be the right thing to do, right? There could be reasons to obscure that number depending on the nature of the meeting. So the dial-in people will have their phone numbers obscured. But you as an admin will have a control about who has that number obscured. If you want to just obscure it for people who are guests in the meeting, but your people within your organization are allowed to see the number, you can do that. If you want to obscure it for everyone, you can do that too. So I quite like it. I think that in most cases people who are dialing in tend to identify themselves anyway, or someone will ask, hey, who's that dialing in, and that person will chime in. What do you reckon about this, Daniel? Is it going to be useful?
Yeah, most certainly. I think I've always kind of looked at that and went, man, that's a little bit of a, personal information, you're divulging. And so you want to be able to differentiate the numbers and making sure that, how many people are called in and maybe where they're calling from or whatever. But divulging the full number to everybody just seems a little bit, especially when you're interacting with those outside your company, just seems a little bit too much. So I like hiding it, and now giving us more control over how that masking is happening, I think is fantastic.
I think that because we're having to do a lot more business online, and that's actually the only option for those of us in lockdown as well. We're having to rely on this, and perhaps it's just another thing that this situation of COVID confinement is showing up some of these situations that have to be remedied, and it's good to see this come in. But
well, I think it is because you think about people using their home phone, if those things still exist.
Oh yeah,
their home phone, landline to call into meetings and stuff. They don't want to expose that number to everybody that they're working with, or maybe some other third party that they're joining a meeting to. So I think it's good.
Side tangent thingo, feature request. Wouldn't it be cool as a meeting organizer you can see a number come in? Great. Can I just add a little display name to that so we know who that person is?
It would be great. Yeah. What would be awesome is when they ask for the person to say their name, is for it to interpret that name and put it in there for them. That would be fun because people would look at it and go, wow, I don't know why Teams thinks your name is
Darrell.
Whatever.
Yeah. No. I do find voice to text is struggles with the Kiwi accent,
which makes it even more the reason why they should do it.
Good for you. Bully you, old chap.
Speaking of things not working well.
Yeah. Well, it's a sneaky little new one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a sneaky new one. Today was announced. The name of this is This is in contention for longest name of subject when it really isn't needed that way. It's like a lawyer.
I didn't have the message, so maybe it got rejected for the
right.
The New Zealand editorial.
So this one is announcements for Microsoft Edge Legacy. It's not the current Edge. Announcements for Microsoft Edge Legacy and for using Microsoft 365 apps and services on Internet Explorer 11. Wow, that's long. MC220490. So everyone, this is that day that I think a lot of people have been looking forward to. I know I have. Is Microsoft officially saying, listen, you need to quit using our old browsers. Okay? So what this is all about is Microsoft Teams does have a special case here. for the two browsers, the Microsoft Edge Legacy, remember that's the old Edge, and Internet Explorer 11 are going to stop being supported in Microsoft 365. Now, there's different timings on this. The first timing is November 30th of this year, 2020. Microsoft Teams web app will no longer be supported on Internet Explorer 11. So yay. I mean, for me, that's yay. So what you need to do is utilize Microsoft Teams using the application on the desktop or on your mobile phone, of course, or the new Microsoft Edge or another supported browser. So that's November 30th, 2020. Now, for all other Microsoft 365 apps, so you think about SharePoint, email, OneDrive, accessing them through the browser, you will no longer be able to, there will be no support for that in Internet Explorer 11 beginning August 17th, 2021. So we're getting a year. So this is great. Again, what you should be using is Microsoft Edge, the new one, or another type of supported browser. So there, I remember I was fortunate enough to be in a conversation with the product team on this, and we told them, yes, you need to give an extended period of time of notice. So they have selected a year, which is great. Now, Teams, obviously, there is a difference there, but at least we're getting 2.5 months notice here for people to stop using Teams via IE11. So do you still use IE11 at all, Darrell?
No. I know it comes up in organizations where you've got legacy applications developed internally, and that's really the reason why you need that extra time to remedy this.
Yes, sir. Well, now I don't know that too many people notice, and I actually put out a blog post this morning on this, but I don't know that too many people know about this, but there's an IE mode in the new Microsoft Edge. And this is really how you can utilize Microsoft Edge, but still have access for those legacy sites and giving you that IE11 kind of feel, okay, and functionality. So what is IE mode? It is a setting that your enterprise can define in policy. So to say, here are the websites that should be in IE mode. And so when they load, it'll automatically, you'll actually see the old E, the old Internet Explorer E up in by the padlock in the URL space, and you will get that same kind of experience. So this is the perfect way to say, you know what, we're being pushed to this, but let's accept it. You should have dropped IE11 a long time ago, but okay, you haven't. Great, that's okay. You can empower your users to still use those other sites, but switch to a brand new browser. So I did do a blog post this morning about this announcement and links to IE mode. So if you want to check out, if you can just go to danielglenn.com, it'll be the first message there if you want more information. But this is coming. It's one of those whether you like it or not kind of deals. So get ready.
And yeah, that is the show. Good note to finish on there. Again, apologies for the rough start where I didn't have the audio enabled for us both. But we'll see you again next time, and stay safe out there, as they say.
Bye-bye.
Bye for now.